Hello.
Welcome to another in English video thing, lesson. Dictionary's open.
Yeah, because I'm here.
Because you're here. That means we need to translate you.
Okay.
Anyway, we will be talking about games that are considered to be Ameritrash. Ameri.
I don't like that word.
I like
it sounds like you're
word,
trashing.
innit?
Sounds like you're trashing the Americans. I don't know. It feels disrespectful.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. So Euros are Euros, and then you go Ameritrash.
Yeah.
It's not trash.
Some people say Ameritrash, which is a little bit softer. I like to just call them dice chuckers because that's ultimately
that's what you're
thematic
doing.
Dice chuckers.
You're just chucking.
Just chucking dice, seeing what happens. So.
Yeah.
So looking at our collection behind the camera, we mostly have more Euro type games and party games. But we do have a fair chunk of like Ameritrash games, I think.
You said thrash.
Thrash. I can't say trash.
Some of them are trash, but that's gonna be later on in this video.
We don't own any trash ones because.
Why would you?
Oh yeah, I mean we have bought some that ended up not being very good that we've then sold.
Ended up being trash.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what should we start with? Should we start with the whole
Well, the concept first,
concept?
I think. So the idea behind these kind of games is they're exciting thematic games that draw you into a experience, and you're going around and you're fighting things. And how you're fighting things is you're chucking dice, and then the thing you're fighting is chucking dice, and then you see who wins, who deals the most damage, and then you either kill it or you take some wounds, and then rinse and repeat, and you're just going around killing things and doing stuff. So that's the basics of it, and then around that can be developed.
Can be some kind of story or something around it,
So I think the first one that we had is probably Descent.
Yeah.
So Descent is a one versus many game of this type, where one person, usually me, is the dungeon master.
And you've got your position of thinking.
Yes.
Dungeon
just,
thinking. So we used to play on like a low coffee table, and Matt would just sit on the floor with one knee on the floor, the other on a sofa, and kind of like has his thinking position. You're lost anyway, almost every time.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, it's more fun to let you win a little bit than just crush you and destroy all your spirits. So I let you win.
Like I'm gonna
No, I didn't.
that.
I didn't. I legitimately tried and failed. So in Descent, it's set in a fantasy universe, and what's cool about it is like a campaign-style game where you're starting off on one scenario, and then as you're going through the different scenarios, you're going through a story and things are happening. But the coolest thing is that your character is getting upgraded throughout. So each of the heroes is getting better and better and better as you go. So
You get new stuff.
you
My
had a
axe,
dwarf.
I'm always a dwarf, and they got the best weapons. I got the axe that then got upgraded to something else.
The grinding axe.
The grinding axe, there you
Much
go.
to my bane.
And then I got this ability of whirlwinding, so I was just walking around doing a whirlwind around the whole board.
Yeah.
And getting
So she would
advice.
land amongst a group of my creatures, and then she'd be like, right, I'm going to do this attack, and then we'd roll like 8 dice. And then whatever creature was there would no longer be there at the end of that dice roll. So.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
I love Descent.
In terms of there are tactics and strategies in this game in terms of like, right, who's going to go first? 'Cause each character has different abilities. Like who's going to go first? Who's going to activate this ability? Who's going to go and do the objective? Who's going to try and deal with the monsters? So there is enough of a thinky element to it. Even though when you get to the combat, it's just rolling the dice and seeing how much damage you do. And then the defender rolls defense
And
dice
there
to
are
see how
like
much
the
damage you do.
modifiers and stuff, so it's not like you're gonna roll it and this is what you get.
Yeah, so you can get
like
items.
Re-rolls or extra dice.
Which I feel is important, because when you're basing a mechanic entirely off of luck,
You need some help.
you need a little bit of way of mitigating that luck if it's too bad for you. So yeah, we really like Descent.
I'm comfortable here. Go stay still.
Okay. We really like Descent, and the only reason we don't really play it anymore is because we then got Gloomhaven, which is a much heavier game
Yeah, but is it still considered Ameritrash? Ameri game?
No.
There is no dice, so...
No, Gloomhaven is a very thinky game. So it's that same kind of like progressing your character kind of feel, but without any of the random dice rolling. Much more thinky. So, yeah, I think we prefer that to...
I mean, I'd still play Descent if we could, but I mean, we never get time to do it for all the other games. So, yeah, I mean...
So let's talk about another game that we bought a while ago that we didn't like as much, and that is Alien vs Predator.
Oh,
The Hunt Begins.
I don't even remember this game having dice.
It did.
Because we only played it like once.
Yes, so I love Alien universe and Predator universe, and so this game had miniatures of aliens, predators and marines, and great, we bought the game. I had to assemble all the miniatures, which was
painful.
A bit annoying because we had
to broke and
they kept breaking.
To do them again.
So fiddly, little marines with tiny arms that are like 3 millimeters long, trying to glue it together. So to the
person who bought this game off of us, thanks.
Anyway, yeah, so we glued all the things. Well, I glued all the things together, then painted all the models apart from the aliens. We just sprayed them black because, I mean, for the first game, I was like, I don't have time to paint all the aliens. I painted all the predators really nice, I painted all the marines really nice, and the aliens I just sprayed them black. So I was like, great, this looks awesome, so good. Get into the game, and first of all, like having to watch like hour-long rules videos on YouTube, like, oh god, what? All right, and then trying to get through the rule book, and we got through a game with 3 players, and
that was it.
See, this game was too complicated, and there was so much dice rolling, because if you ever played Warhammer or any kind of miniatures game like that,
hello, Pebble.
Hey, Pebs. You have to roll for your first attack, then you have to roll to see if there's like another test, and then you have to roll for another test, and you have to roll for the armor test, and then finally you work out how many dice made it all the way through all those tests to then finally do a wound. And that just slows the games right down. Like, I don't want to just roll millions of dice and then have to roll them again to do a different test.
I mean, that game was broken on many different levels as well, but
let's
not talk about that.
I don't know. Basically, the Marines were massively overpowered and the aliens were underpowered in the first edition of the game, and I just got absolutely decimated by the Marines as the aliens. It was a very souring experience. And then
I was kind of like, I was the Predator. I was just kind of like, I'm here. So what do I do?
No, Never mind.
So
the problem with the dice chucking in that game was just too much.
Too much of it.
Too many different tests for one action that was being done.
You have to roll for everything.
So that we don't like that about these kind of games. So that one's gone. Although painting the miniatures was fun. That's its only saving grace. Right, back onto one that we do like. What have we got in our collection?
Well, Doom?
Doom is probably the simplest
version of Descent.
Yeah. Doom is pretty much a pure Ameritrash type game in that it's standalone mission, so it's not a campaign like Descent, and a group of Marines are moving around, and there's one player controlling all the demons, who's spawning demons all around the map, and the Marines have objectives that they need to get to across the map, and they just need to kill everything on their way to get these objectives to then complete the mission. And the demon player is just spawning demons everywhere, trying to swamp the Marines. It's probably best if you just pick up one by one, just storm loads of damage on one, kill him, and then storm loads of damage on the other. And they can respawn, but if the demon player kills them a certain number of times, that's how the demon player wins.
That being said, you've never won yet.
I've never won yet, but we've only played the first 2 scenarios, which is supposed to be out of like 10 or 12 that are in the box. So I think the first scenario is supposed to be easier for the Marines, and then it gets harder as you go on.
So you say we're never going to win again?
We'll see. But yeah, this game, I think, although it is quite simple and it is just moving, dice chucking, the miniatures are very nice. Like the demon miniatures are all really well detailed. Like one day I'm going to paint them and it's going to be really good. I painted the Marines to make them a bit more distinct from each other, because each one is supposed to be a different colour, and they all come just all the same brown plastic colour, And so I was like, right, yeah, I need to paint those straight away so we can identify which one's which.
You're just mad about painting.
I just love painting.
There are situations when we get to game where we can't play it because Matt needs to play the miniatures first, and it doesn't help that the game's got like 100 miniatures.
Yeah.
Public roast. Anyway,
so why do we like Doom when we might not like other games in this type?
well, I like it because it's like Descent. It's just
Yeah.
easier to teach, and you don't have to do the whole campaign.
Yeah.
You don't have to have the same group of people to play with, because once you get to Descent, we used to play with 3 or 4 of us
Yeah.
the whole time, and you needed those people.
Yeah, I think what's cool about it is the guns. Like, as the Marines, you can pick up more powerful guns on the map, and then suddenly you feel super powered.
Yeah.
Because then you have these awesome guns. Because it's kind of a bit like a deck builder type thing, as well as the dice chucking. And so you're shuffling through your deck, and you're putting all these good cards in your deck that will come out, and then you'll be like blasting people away with a rocket launcher and stuff. And yeah, I like it. Not like the best game in the world, but it certainly fits that niche if you just want to play something kind of. If you just want to play a dice chucker, just running around killing
it's
stuff,
quick and
that's
it's
the best
easy
one
to
we've
teach.
played.
Yeah.
So we played
The worst game.
the worst dice chucker game we've played, called The Others, which is an Eric Lang game, Kickstarter game, and the theme is kind of like the 7 deadly sins, and I mean in the base box it only comes with 2 sins. So
They want your money.
yes. So I was playing Pride. I was the sin player, and everyone else was playing the different. I don't know what you call them. Like they're not heroes. They're not investigators. Really, they're just kind of like a combat force.
Yeah.
It's been sent to.
They're not even people.
quell the threat.
Like there's a werewolf and there's a tentacle girl
Yeah.
and you
So
know.
I have no problem with this theme. It's quite gruesome. All the figures have like tentacles coming off them, and like loads of teeth and
I
things.
didn't feel that theme. And to be honest, like I've read about this game a lot before because people were saying like, oh, this is too heavy, the theme is too crushing, and it's just grim and gloomy, and it is really not. Like I could not feel. I don't know. Maybe I should have read the story of the rules or something.
I read the prologue when I was reading through the rulebook, and it looks like they've developed a rich kind of story behind the game. But in the game itself, you don't get any of that. At least we only played one of the scenarios where it was just kill stuff.
Pure combat.
I mean that might have not been a good idea if you wanted to have it more thematic. But I've been told this game can last quite long if you do some of the other ones. So essentially, the Sin player has a load of monsters over the board, and the other players each have their own character, and they've got a checklist of things they need to do until they win.
Yeah.
So the first thing, what's the first thing you have to do? Just kill 3 of the same type of monster.
Yeah. Or you just gonna say talk about the whole game?
I'm not going to talk about that. Right, so just to kill 3 of the same monster, and then there will be the next one was like extinguish 3 fires or whatever, and
just doing little things until you kill the main guy, and I mean, it was so boring.
it was just
So boring.
you move, and then you attack,
And
you
you're
just
being
roll the
attacked,
dice,
and then
you're
the same, and then you die, and then you respawn, and then.
I think what was missing was there was no story or text or flavour coming out. It was just moving and killing, and then moving and then killing or being killed, and then until the game ended.
The miniatures were nice. If you want to find something that was good about this game, the minis were good.
It's
a come on
game.
I'm gonna be calling it Simon.
I could put a cool mini or not. So we should have nice miniatures, but yeah, not our kind of game. And it was the same kind of system as Zombicide, which again we've played and we did not like.
Absolutely. I know there are people there who love Zombicide and got all the versions of Green Horde and the Black Plague, and there's now the one in space or something. And great. I mean, you know, this is a game that you play whilst you're with your friends and you're drinking beer and you just chucking the dice and you don't really care what the game is about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling.
Yeah, something about the system of there are no wounds on the enemies. You just have to.
You kill him or you don't kill him. Like what?
Hit enough hits to kill them.
Yeah.
And they will just die. If you don't quite make that, nothing happens. And it means fighting the big epic boss monster isn't kind of like slowly whittling it down its health until you can finally take it out. It's just like you need to make one massive good dice roll and take him out.
Yeah.
Which in our game we played, they did. Just made one big epic dice roll and killed him in one go. And even though I had completely was destroying them
really
the whole game.
Anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Like when you play all the Cthulhu games and there's this massive monster that's like 60 health on the map and you killing him and you get 8 damage, 5 damage, and he goes down and he goes down and you just kind of you want him to you physically want him to die, but in there he was just like, oh look, I killed him.
I can see why that would be a useful mechanic in that you don't have to track health with health tokens and things, because it's kind of like in Descent when you've got lots of models and you're having to keep track of like how much health each one's got. Yeah, that's quite finicky, and so this eliminates that. But something about it didn't really
what if
feel
you roll
good.
5 out of 7 or 6 out of 7? Still, nothing happens. You have to roll 7.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay.
Well, that brings us into our next one we'll talk about, which is Mansions of Madness, which is a game that we do have everything for the second edition because we love
apart
this
from
game.
one expansion. The one from this first edition.
The first edition
them.
models come over. I didn't think it was worth paying that much money just to have one scenario because although it comes with lots of miniatures, these kind of like the older ones from the first edition, it only comes with one scenario to play with all these miniatures, so it's not really worth it.
They've announced a new expansion, right?
They have announced new expansion.
The Path of the Serpent or something?
Yeah, and the great thing with these expansions, they come with like 3 scenarios and loads of miniatures and more investigators. So for those of you who don't know, Mansions of Madness is a cooperative game where you're playing against the app, and the app controls all the Cthulhu monsters.
That's That's where people get divided into like, I don't like apps in games. Games shouldn't have an app. Then they get the first edition and make someone spend 4 hours setting up the scenario because that's what's going to happen.
The game manages all the health of the monsters and everything. It manages everything for you, and there are surprises because things will suddenly pop up and you didn't know what was going to come up because the app is all embedded.
It's all randomizing things as well, so you can play the same scenario a couple of times and it's going to be different every time.
And what we like about it that was really lacking from the other games talked about is the story and the theme, because it's quite well written and everything you read about everything. So you go into a room, it describes the room, and then everything you can interact with in the room, it describes that, like, oh, there is a table knocked over with papers on the floor. One of the papers catches your eye, or something like that. Or like, there is a bookcase, and on the bookcase is a heavy tome with weird alien writing on the side. And you're like, ooh, okay. What do we want to investigate? Do we want to look at the papers on the floor? Do we want to look at the book?
You have to make decisions as well. It's not like you can do everything because you're running out of time. So you have to like say, okay, well, I think the alien tome is more important than this little piece of paper, and maybe it's the other way around, and maybe you have to do both, but you don't have to investigate a cat in a corridor or something, you know.
And so there are monsters that do pop up in the game, obviously, but it's not all just killing monsters. It's more trying to uncover the mystery in the scenario, trying to work out what you're supposed to do.
And then the big monster comes in the middle.
Yeah, and usually towards the end, a big monster will have been summoned, unless you played really well and managed to stop him being summoned somehow. And then this big monster, well, in the last hour we played, basically the monster had like 60 health, so to actually kill him would be almost impossible unless you had some really good guns and you're all like doing well against him.
Yeah, we lost terribly.
All you could do really was try and slow down the monster by some people like tag teaming in and out of fighting him, whilst the others went round the building to try and
do something else.
Try and finish the spell or whatever to stop him from being able to escape. And it's just a really fun experience. And what is really good about it is the setup time is almost nothing.
Nothing, exactly.
Because
you have to shuffle the cards, the madness and the health.
Yeah.
You don't shuffle the other ones because they're alphabetically put in the thing. So you just, as long as you have it all prepared in the box,
Yeah.
Then it comes out and
You
it's
just
ready to
select your
play.
investigators, select the scenario you want to play. As long as you've got all the pieces on the table ready to go, you just press play and it says, right, you're going to be starting in the lobby, and then you just have the lobby tile, put it down, and then you go, and as you go, you're building up the map. So yeah, I think it's really
And you can
good.
choose the scenarios if you want to play a shorter or a longer one. And you can kind of figure out if it's going to be combat heavy or if it's going to be like murder mystery, or you want to play very hard, difficult one or really easy one just to start with. Is so good.
And everyone we've played with has really enjoyed it. Like even non-gamers, we play as non-gamers, but because it's so thematic and story-driven, and it's very simple what you're doing, you're just moving and interacting with a thing in the room, or you're moving and like fighting a monster or whatever.
And even though it is a co-op, when you go mad, it kind of turns into a hidden role thing, because you might not be wanting to win the game, though you might want to do something else.
If you lose all your sanity, you get a card that gives you a new end game victory condition for yourself. Most of them say you win the game as normal and you have to do something extra, so it's harder. But some of them say you don't win the game as normal. Instead, you need to do something like set 6 rooms on fire, or one of them is quite funny, you need to be alone with another investigator on a spot and have a bladed weapon, and then you stab them and then you win the game because you sacrifice the goat god or something, which adds the extra bit of tension to the game.
Extra tension.
Once someone goes mad, because you're like, can we trust them or not?
Yeah, do we give him that weapon? I did it once. It's like, give me the knife. Bye. That's good.
And I mean, you got Arkham Horror and Eldritch Horror. Also, they have some dice chucking in. We didn't even really talk about dice chucking in Mansions of Madness. I mean, there are lots of tests you need to do, like your will tests and
there's a lot of modifiers for those tests as well. So you will get cards that give you an extra die, an extra hit, and something else, a reroll, and so you will be rolling dice quite a lot. So that's what they've changed in Lord of the Rings, which is pretty much the same, but there is no dice. There's deck of cards. Yeah. So is that not Ameritrash then anymore? Because it hasn't got dice? I don't know.
I think it probably is still. It's still a thematic game. You're going around and you're doing things based on a luck-based system.
Yeah.
But I think it's less so than Mansions of Madness and other dice rolling type games.
Yeah.
We really enjoyed Lord of the Rings. Not quite as much Mansions of Madness. And I think I don't know why.
Well, it's different because Lord of the Rings got a campaign and you have to do it all in a one thing. Like you have to have the same. Well, you don't have to have the same people because you can drop in and out, I guess. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, thematically I like more Mansions of Madness because it's kind of. I don't know. I'm trying to read Lovecraft and I'm struggling a lot because of the words they use in there. But I mean, Lord of the Rings is not bad. I like the game. I really like the game, but I like Mansions of Madness more.
I'd say so. Any other dice tracks?
Eldritch Horror, same.
Arkham Horror, similar things. You're rolling dice for tests, but instead of moving a miniature through a mansion, you're moving the standee across a map of the world in Eldritch Horror, or through a city in Arkham Horror. And it's quite similar, really. I mean, we probably don't need to have all 3, but we just love.
But we do.
Games. So yeah. That's,
what about Fallout?
Yes, Fallout definitely.
It does have dice. It's just for combat, really, because I mean, you do tests. True, you do tests.
Yeah.
And I completely forgot about that game.
Fallout's an interesting one because it's more of a sandbox style Ameritrash game in that you can go out and just do whatever. I mean, there are kind of story missions to go through, but sometimes you have a choice of which one you're going to go for, which is interesting. And I really like going through and upgrading your character in that game and getting good stuff.
You feel like you're getting better at things. Yeah,
and progressing through stories. Really interested to see how these stories progress as you go through them. But that game, just the scoring mechanism is completely
that's absolutely broken.
That's
what people just they just don't play this because I mean there are house rules and there are rules on Board Game Geek that have been updated and
you'll get points for how much credits caps you've managed to acquire and how much experience you've got. the end of the game. I just enjoy the experience of playing it, but
and I like the universe as well.
Yeah,
I like Fallout.
the Fallout universe is really cool, and the dice rolling stuff it's a little bit different in that they've, instead of having numbers on the dice, they've actually got
the little person with the.
If you ever play Fallout, they've got the bat system, you know, where you've got to highlight the head or the arms, like what you're going to shoot at.
Yeah.
And certain enemies have weak spots and certain things, so you roll the dice and you're trying to roll a combination of their weak spots on the dice to kill them. So that was a little bit interesting.
So I've got 2 more games in my head. One is that we have and played and I like it. And one is that we played and played it twice and people didn't like it as much.
Okay, what are these games?
Should I guess?
One of them we still have.
One of them we played recently. So the top shelf there.
Machina Arcana.
Machina Arcana. I don't know how to say it. Machina Arcana.
So this one's another Cthulhu themed game, but not done by Fancy Flight, done by some other person on Kickstarter. And that is going through a dark dungeon with Cthulhu monsters.
In this whole steampunk universe, which is
Steam-
really cool. Steampunk is really
yeah.
good. I really like it.
Set in a fancy steampunk universe with Cthulhu monsters.
On another note, the world's worst rulebook ever.
Oh yeah, the rules for this game.
But maybe that's a separate video we could do about ridiculous rules and bad, really bad.
But yes, it's another
Real
game.
bad.
You're wandering around, you're fighting things, and you have to roll lots of dice to potentially kill them, or they kill you. It's a very difficult game, and it's a very grim game. I get a very kind of desolate, nihilistic feeling playing this game.
Yeah.
It feels like black metal, but a game. Is how I
Black metal of the game.
or like post, just really something very cold and nihilistic and nasty and kind of, I don't know. I quite like that.
I liked it.
I quite
yeah.
like that,
So this
but,
is what I was expecting
not
from
for
the
everyone.
others after people said, "Oh, it's so heavy." That's what I was expecting. Black metal the game, and I got nothing. But in here, I mean,
it's really,
it's good.
you get this very cold, creepy kind of feeling playing it. But yeah, again, you're just rolling dice, and unfortunately, the game has standees instead of miniatures, which I would be fine with. But the artwork on the standees is black and white, and
But artwork in the game is really good.
the artwork in the game is really good.
love
I don't know why they went black and white and low quality print. It's the second edition, which has just come on Kickstarter quite recently.
That's the first edition.
We've got the first edition. The second edition apparently has much better
Well, we missed it. So.
quality print.
And the other game? Batman.
So we'll finish on Batman Gotham City Chronicles. You might have seen people posting pictures of their mountain of boxes.
17
Look what I
boxes.
got through the post today. And, can't wait to play this game.
Really? It's not that good.
We've played it twice now at a local game cafe, and the first time we played it, I was pretty into it.
Yeah, I liked the
second time we
first
played
game.
it, I realised all the flaws there was to the game because they made themselves more apparent in the second game.
Yeah. So the first one was really hype. It was just 2 of us playing.
Yeah.
So I had 2 characters. You had the Scarecrow,
Yeah.
and and it was really good.
Batman was just rolling through, just killing loads of people.
Cheating probably a million times because this rules out another rule book that is ridiculous. Even with the little player aids and printed stuff from BGG and stuff. No, I mean.
Yeah. So you're just rolling dice for your attacks to kill things. I mean, you roll better. There are different coloured dice, and each coloured dice is slightly better. So Batman's really good at punching people, so he rolls better dice when he's punching people. And I was playing the henchman, and my shotgun guy is really good at close range. You roll 2 black dice, which is like the best dice. And the first time we played, it felt pretty good because Batman and whoever the other guy was, Azrael.
Yeah.
They broke into a facility. Batman beat up a load of dudes. He managed to get to the computer room. Azrael snuck around and got to the safe. And Batman opened the computer room, and everyone was trying to beat up Batman. Azrael escaped with the codes, and yeah, it felt pretty cool.
So we hyped other people. I was like, yes, this is Batman game, let's play it. And we brought another 2 people with us to play, and it turned out to be crap.
Problem is that you can run out of energy, and so every turn you can only regenerate 2 energy, which means 2 actions you can do. Or you can rest, which you get 4 energy back, which means 5 energy back.
Yeah.
But if you work out, you only have a certain number of turns to do this, so you're going to have to sacrifice a few turns to get some energy.
Yeah, one of our friends did the maths actually on it.
Yeah, he worked out how many kind of actions you get throughout the whole game if you were playing like optimally, and it wasn't that many. And so
if you don't succeed on every one you do, then you kind of screwed.
When you've got a very limited number of actions and you have to rely on dice rolling for most of them, and you're not rolling well enough, which was the case in he wasn't rolling very well, you're kind of a little bit screwed, really.
Yeah.
Because the luck of the dice has actually stopped you from being able to do what you want to do. And I mean, the ways to mitigate the dice is to spend more energy to re-roll the dice, but we've already established the energy is so
really limited.
There's so little energy that you have to work with. It's at first you think there's loads of energy because it's a massive pool of it, but as you're going through the game, it's chipping away right down low.
And then between your turns you get attacked and you have to lose that energy, and it's just like, wow, that was my plan.
I was playing henchman, and I was just activating the shotgun guys every time they were cheap enough to activate, and they're just really powerful. I was just like wrecking heroes with the shotgun.
But you were kind of cheating as well because you were activating 3 instead of 2.
Yeah.
I mean.
But even so, that second game we played really kind of felt like.
I know lots of people wanted this Batman game to be the best game ever because it's got million miniatures, boxes, is really well done when it comes to like the production value and everything you get. But
just too much dice rolling, and there's too much on those dice. So in conclusion, what do we like and not like about dice rolling games? So
I want to have a bit of story in a dice rolling game as well.
It needs some story. Like Mansions of Madness has a bit of story.
Yeah.
Doom doesn't necessarily have the story, but it has other things which make it.
Doom is more of a nostalgic thing because Doom.
Doom is more about the excitement of running around, like picking up weapons and blasting things. So that's probably the purest. Like any less than that, when we're going into the territory of the Zombicide and the others, where it is missing that meat. Really, it's just the moving around, rolling.
If it's literally I have to move and roll a 6 to kill something, it's annoying.
Because if you're hoping for one number to,
I might as well go and play something else.
So dice do add tension to the game in terms of will you or will you not complete the thing? Oh, I did win it! Hooray! Or oh no, what am I gonna do now?
Yeah, I like the build up. I like when you go and you're progressing for a scenario and you have to do something and you do a little bit, someone else does a little bit, and you kind of all together do it.
Yeah. But if too much is on those dice rolls, if you can lose the game and be completely screwed over, if you'll just get a string of bad luck, then not so much for us.
But like in the others, you roll the dice, I have to re-roll this one and I re-roll that one, and you don't have enough dice and you keep re-rolling them, and we're just sitting there like, you've just rolled like 16 dice and I've got 2, thanks,
right,
it's just...
8 hits to you and 4 horror.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take it.
You're
Thanks.
So there we go. What do you guys think of dice chucker games?
Are you more of an Ameri or Euro person? Or are you just both? I think I'm just both.
I think variety is the spice of life. Lots of different types of games.
Yeah, and with that thought, we're just gonna finish the video. So, we'll see you next time. Bye!